Mike was thrown into the trunk of a car and taken to a rundown trailer in the middle of nowhere. The thugs forced an entire bottle of liquor down his throat, then doused the inside of the trailer with gasoline, planning to set it ablaze once he passed out, making it look like an accident. Flames roared to life as Mike writhed in agony, while his wife and son watched helplessly from outside. Finally, one of the men fired 2 shots, ending Mike's life for good. But you think that's the end of the story? Not even close. The real storm was just beginning. 10 years later, a man tracked down one of the killers from that night and shot him dead on the spot. Word quickly reached the crime boss, but since it was just some low-level nobody, he didn't think much of it. The next day, however, his right-hand man John was found dead in the street. That's when the boss realized these killings might be connected to what happened a decade ago. His mind immediately went to Mike's elderly mother, still alive. She was in her 80s, but if someone was out for revenge, she was the only one left. To tie up loose ends, the boss went to her home himself and killed her before leaving. But things didn't go the way he expected. Shortly after he left, a familiar figure appeared inside the house. It was Mike. The boss never imagined Mike had survived, let alone spent all these years planning his revenge. Standing over his mother's body, Mike's fury burned white hot. But 10 years of hardship had sharpened him. He stayed calm and began hunting down the boss and his ex-wife. Since she had become a drug addict, it didn't take long to get her address from a dealer. By now, his ex-wife was so strung out she could barely think straight. When Mike suddenly appeared in her room, she was absolutely terrified. She had watched him get shot and collapse with her own eyes. How could he possibly still be alive? Mike told her to lure her father to the house, then hid behind a wall and waited. The moment the boss stepped through the door, Mike lunged out and drove a knife deep into his leg. The man screamed and crumpled to the floor. Without hesitation, Mike grabbed a pillow, pressed it over the boss's face, and sat down on top of him. He was going to end this man's life right in front of his ex-wife. But first, Mike needed to find out where his son was. Because of his ex-wife's addiction, his son had ended up hooked on drugs too. When he learned the boy had been living on the streets curled up under an overpass, Mike didn't hesitate. He pulled the trigger and wiped out the father and daughter who had destroyed his life. Then he rushed to the overpass and found his son, barely conscious. By now, the boy had grown from a small child into a teenager. Mike put him in the car and drove to a church where he got him settled. Only then did he feel at ease enough to leave. In the end, Mike walked alone into an empty field. His eyes were filled with darkness, as if hinting that this, perhaps, was the true reason he had been reborn.